most healing comes from knowing who we are, waking up to that truth, embodying that truth. And so sometimes when people use the word healing, there's a pain that's within us. Most often something that we experienced in childhood, something traumatic. It doesn't have to be traumatic. But there's definitely wounds in us where we get in, wounds in us that boil up into our adult life and cause us a lot of trouble. And I think it's very important to spend a lot of time working with these. And by working with them, I mean being open to them, listening to them, allowing them to release. And that's going to take a great deal of both courage and surrender. And most people in the spiritual world normally aren't wanting to look at these places. And because a lot of times spirituality, for most folks, has to do with feeling better. But to me, if we really want to be free, we have to be big enough, to hold every part of ourselves, and to allow those parts to come forward. And if we need to listen to them, we listen to them. If we need to make a space for them, we make space for them. And in a big sense, I like to work with these parts of ourselves like they were children. So if we have a crying child in us, we work in a very open and compassionate way. Just like if there's a crying child in this room, we'd reach down, pick it up, put him or her in our lap, and listen to them. Allow them to have a fit, allow them to emote, allow them to have their say. Yet at the same time, we don't necessarily listen to the story of what they're saying. And I think that's where most people get confused is they spend too much time listening to the story of the child and not enough time just being like big and open and wide and allowing that emotion to come and allowing it to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably speak about that for an hour. I don't know if there's I do that all day long. With my clients, with students, with myself. When these parts of ourself come forward, to me it's very important to be fully open to them, to not push them away. And then the other thing people do is when they come forward, we get overwhelmed by them. So we don't push it away, we don't become overwhelmed, but we fully listen to it, whatever it is, and allow for it to move. And sometimes allowing for it to move will feel tremendously overwhelming. It'll feel like a huge uncontrollable emotion is moving through us. And people tend to be really frightened of that. And we have to remember it's just emotion, it's just feeling, it's just sensation. It's not something dangerous, but our mind will come forward and say this is something dangerous. This is something, our mind will come forward, unconsciously or subconsciously and just say, stop. Like, I want this to end. And it takes a great deal of courage to be able to allow for this to move. Like I said, without believing the story, without wanting it to end, without trying to control it or manipulate it or be in charge in some kind of, psychological way. And to me, when we work with these parts of ourselves, it can be very much a doorway to freedom.